Rise and Shout football fans. In this video, I want to highlight the home field advantage and the stadium atmosphere and how it can affect the players on the field. Right now, I just want to paint a picture real quick. Currently is 4th and 17 for BYU, and they've decided to punt the ball. There's 11:45 left in the game, and BYU is only up 21-17. And currently, it's anyone's game. According to ESPN, I think they say BYU has like a 70% chance of winning at this point. During this punt, I feel like BYU is able to get really great coverage downfield and pin Arizona State deep. And the important thing that I want to focus on here is BYU Student Section is right in this portion of the stadium if you just go straight up. So whenever it's overtime, BYU always likes to pick this side of the field for playing defense and offense because they know that the student section is close by and they're going to get loud. Moving forward, I will make sure the sound is playing for every play so you can hear the crowd noise and how it affects the game. On this first play for Arizona State, crowd noise isn't too high and they just call a run right up the gut. The running back takes it here and he's going to run up between the center and the right tackle. He's got 7 blockers for Arizona State, and BYU's got 5 people that engage directly at the line, plus 2 middle linebackers that come collapse down. Overall, I think it's about a 4-yard gain. Very good designed run, hoping that your run back can break it big, but at this point, Arizona State just wants to get out of the shadow of BYU, out of the shadow of the end zone, and prevent BYU from getting a safety or anything.
Get Notre Dame in a couple of weeks.
And off from the 5.
Solid tackle by BYU, and overall, Arizona got 4 yards, which is a decent first down. So on this play, the crowd's starting to add some more noise. It's 2nd down and 6, and Arizona State calls another run play to the running back going to the right side. He's going to start here, head out right, and then this man in motion is going to come run to the right, add some misdirection, and possibly a block later on. BYU is going to have 2 guys get off their block and help make the tackle. And I always love seeing linebackers and especially defensive linemen when they're able to fight off their block, keep outside contain, and then still make the tackle. When I see that, it just makes my little heart sing. So Pepe Tunavasa, he engages against who I believe is the right tackle, as well as Max Tooley is gonna engage on against the tight end.
The top 25 BYU on defense here. ASU 2nd down, out of the timeout. White.
That was the surprise. I forgot Max Tooley was. I knew he was a linebacker, but I thought he was a backup, and it was Wilgar playing that position at this time. I apologize for the surprise sound. But seeing both of those players fight off blocks and get the tackle, it's now 3rd down and about 7 yards, I believe, and the crowd is starting to get fired up. So crowd noise is pumped up. It's 3rd down and 6. Arizona State is backed up against the end zone, and the right guard right there, who I'm circling, he's going to get early jump on the ball and cause a false start for the team. And this gets the crowd even more riled up.
Here we give BYU great field.
So now the crowd's even louder, and if you watch the Arizona State quarterback, when he calls for the ball, he just claps. And that's the signal, I want the ball. And if you look at it, all of the wide receivers are looking at the ball or looking back at the quarterback because they can't actually hear any commands coming through, and it's starting to cause a lot of confusion. This causes one of the wide receivers up top, as soon as he hears the clapping sound, before the center actually does any movement, he's going to false start. And in this case, I guess there was 2. I have written in my notes 1 false started at the top of the screen. But looks like possibly 2 false starts. Again, half the distance to the goal going backwards, and now Arizona has, in essence, lost about 7 yards due to false starts, and they're pinned against their own end zone. I love this shot of the fans because they know that they have done very well. Just such a great time, celebration. I was so happy I flew out for this game. So BYU in defense is in a very good position here now because of the 2 false starts granted by the ROC mostly, as the crowd noise is definitely causing problems for Arizona State. And you can further show this as you got the wide receivers are not looking forward at their route, but they are staring at the center, as well as even the left tackle looks to be staring at the center. All these people just want to make sure they don't false start after they've already had 2 in a row. If you do a quick analysis of what the play is, Arizona State's going to send 4 wide receivers out on routes, and they're going to defend with 5 offensive linemen and 1 running back, as they need the extra protection for their quarterback. BYU's going to come at them with their do-everything defense, rush 3, and drop 8, because BYU loves this defense, that's for sure. They like to play it a lot. No surprise, rushing 3 doesn't really get much pressure. Quarterback has all day. And just an awesome catch by the wide receiver. I gotta give him credit there.
They say a catch.
So, Arizona State, I'm just going to replay from another angle that last down. Sorry, it's kind of fuzzy. That's just the feed that we got. But Arizona State wide receiver, he's going to jump up. And while he's up in the air, he makes the catch. And he has to just land with 1 foot in bounds. The BYU defender coming to hit him, if he hits him out of bounds before the receiver catches the ball and puts a foot back in the field of play, it's still considered out of bounds in college rules. So I think that's how BYU won the Cotton Bowl, is the defender actually pushed Kenny Lockett for Kansas State out of bounds, so he couldn't get a foot back in. In this play, Arizona State, the receiver is able to jump, high point the ball, and still land with a foot in bounds even after he gets pushed. I just want to show it because it really is a great play by Arizona State.
But I think he held onto the ball
right here,
through contact with the ground.
Catch.
So it's the right foot we're looking at.
Keep his foot in before he gets shoved out. I do think, on the other hand, if the BYU player would have actually pushed right at the torso and tried to knock him out instead of push up higher, or not push at the torso, push down closer towards the hips instead of the torso, I think there's a chance BYU could have driven him out of bounds and kept him from completing the pass. But that's all history now. So crowd noise still is playing a big role. You got the 2 outside receivers that are not that far outside, pretty close to the center, are still looking at the center to hike the ball. And then you have the left tackle is looking back at the quarterback to see when the signal comes to then tap the center and say, hike the ball now. And that way they're going to coordinate by visual clues instead, and the left tackle tap in the center. That way everyone starts at the right time. One thing I do want to notice is usually when a quarterback signals for one of the men to go in motion, he'll just do that knee raise, but I don't typically see earlier in this game the quarterback actually signal, hey, you over here, with his hands. Sorry, that was the worst arrow ever. Hey, you, go into motion. And you can just see as this play develops that the Arizona State offense has no idea what they're doing. He doesn't even realize he's supposed to get a run.
That's
it looks like it
busted
possibly
play.
looks like
Daniels
a jet sweep or
ends
something.
up paying for it with a...
I think the crowd noticed that we've really gotten into Arizona State's head at this point because they don't know what they're doing. Unfortunately, even with a completely busted play, Arizona State still picks up about 4. So now it's 2nd and 6. Crowd noise is still at a high level, and the Arizona players are still looking at the center to get a clue as to when it's going to get snapped. You will notice that the offensive linemen outside the left tackle are not staring at the center. And this, it causes them a problem as this tight end over here will false start.
Yeah, give BYU some credit for getting
that
into
right
the
there is
backfield.
another 5-yard penalty. Moved it back 5 yards.
Another false start.
So in this play, I've been building up to it for a while, pointing out how everyone is staring at the football, and how this is causing Arizona to start slow on many of their plays, a lot of confusion. But at this point, I just want to mention that you can see this offensive lineman, they do a replay where we'll see a better angle soon, and this offensive lineman, both of them are just a couple feet away from the quarterback. Even the offensive line is staring at the football to make sure they don't false start, hoping that Arizona State can get a playoff. In this case, you'll notice that BYU really does capitalize.
There's 4 of them in the last 6 plays.
Pepe Tunabase is able to go around.
Under center. Play
and he gets a sack. He's almost untouched the entire way in.
That was Pepe.
So I just want to re-emphasize that from another angle. The left tackle, he is staring straight down at the ball, and the running back in the back, he's coming up for a fake handoff as part of a play action pass. This allows BYU's linebacker, Tuivasa, to get around both of them, and he's going to get a sack on the quarterback in the backfield for a loss of about 7 yards. That plus the 2 false starts, and Arizona State's going to be looking at 3rd and 27. They get a small dump-off pass, and this ends up being their last offensive series before the game's basically out of reach. They get the ball back with about 2.5 minutes left in the game, and BYU's up by 2 scores. I'd like to credit the offensive series being stopped by not only the BYU defense, but I do feel like the crowd, home field advantage, had a really major part. I've never seen a sack where I thought, you know, the crowd deserves almost half the credit, as well as all the false starts. Plus, I think it also, you hear from the players that they really get pumped up when they hear the entire fans cheering them on the entire time on defense. Overall, I probably made this video just because I flew out for the game, and it was one of my first games in LaVille Edwards Stadium for a long time, and it was nostalgic of me to go over it all. I hope you enjoyed it too. I love going over the different plays, especially for BYU football, and I love going over just my insights as to what I saw. If you guys could, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, as well as I would love to get some comments about your live experiences there, anything you can add to this story, as well as if you have any feedback for me, I'd appreciate it as well. Thank you so much, and have a great night. Go Cougars. Bam. Such a beautiful play.